This student sent us a message saying, "Hi, thank you for your feedback. I desire to score at least a 9. The test was today. Hopefully I did well enough. The score desired was 9." This is what the student said after the exam. "Hi, I wanted to thank HZad for the materials. I used the 15-hour package. I stumbled on it last minute, but I applied the principles learned. Got an overall band 11, writing 12, speaking 11, reading 10, listening 10. Most of you need a score of 9, 10, or higher. This student got exactly that and more. This student just needed a 9, but he used our 15-hour package and got the scores that were needed. Now, we make an improvement guarantee, and you can find the course in the description. You can check it out. But if you decide to go with the course, again, it's more of a guaranteed path. Or if you don't decide to go with the course, today, regardless, I'm going to give you a plan, a 4-day plan in case your exam isn't 4 days, but also the same plan can be repeated once done to have it extend up to 8 days, 12 days, 16 days, and so on. This is the plan that students follow in our 15-hour course. This is the plan that they use whenever they say, "I got an 11, I got a 12, and I'll tell you how you can use it with all 4 modules. It is highly effective. So stick till the end of this video because we're going to discuss very important fundamentals for you to follow when you practice CELPIP at home. Now let's get started with reading, which is a pain for a lot of people. So let's address this right off the bat. Day 1, you want to do 1 full reading test. Now you can find mock tests for reading which are timed, include all parts, and they match the difficulty level of the exam. You can check them out in our CELPIP course. Again, that is in the description. So you want to do just 1 test, okay? Here's the thing where people make a mistake. They do multiple tests without the right analysis. Hey, if you have time of doing the test and the analysis, that's perfect. But most of you would have limited time. So what you want to do is just do 1. But here's how you can make it better. After you do that 1 and you check the answers, you want to identify all tough questions you got wrong and write why you got them wrong. Look, when we're in classes as teachers, we tell students, this is why you got it wrong. And it's very important for us to tell you this because you would know not to repeat it. You need to really understand. I can't emphasize this enough. You have to understand why you got this wrong. Is it because you were rushing? Is it because you said, A and B are the likely options, I'll check it later, but you never came back and confirmed which one it was? Or is it because of vocabulary? What is the issue? Is it comprehension? Identify it if you're studying yourself without a teacher, because no one else will do it for you. Identify and make sure not to replicate it. Now, when you are reading, you want to practice skimming for main ideas. That does not mean you have to skim like a 1-minute strict skimming before each reading part. No, that means whenever you read the questions, go back to the passage, skim, and try to do scanning for details so you can find the right paragraphs where the answers likely are. And this is a skill you need to keep building. Now, make sure you eliminate all of the wrong answers. You can't look at one answer and say, this makes sense, and pick that and not look at the other 3. Sometimes they're too close answers. Make sure you really eliminate each of the wrong ones. Now, once you have done the mock tests, you have checked your answers, you want to go back to the mock tests and pick any 2 parts. Read them again and summarize each of the articles in 3 sentences. Why? Because this helps you immensely in your comprehension. In classes, we ask students, if these are the 3 paragraphs, how can you summarize this in 1 sentence? Whenever you do this, you're able to understand the information and concept and explain it to yourself in your own words. Helps you with comprehension and helps you with remembering what is said instead of you looking back and forth between the passage and the question. Very handy for the exam. It's a skill to build. And the other skill to build is your vocabulary. In our course, you have the academic word lists, the idiomatic expression lists, learn 10 to 15 new academic words, and 5 idiomatic expressions or idioms from the lists given. Again, this helps you constantly build vocabulary because vocab is challenging in this CELPIP reading. Now let's talk about listening. You want to focus on strengthening your note-taking because the answers are not there when the audio is being played. People who are coming from IELTS don't know this, so you want to take notes and later use those notes to answer the questions. You want to focus on your inference and speed of response. if you achieve this goal, you're good. Now I'll tell you how you can do that. Do one full listening test again on day 2. It should be timed. It should have all parts. Now you want to identify 2 parts where you struggled. Listen again, write out full answers. Now, what is 2 parts? What is this? I highlighted this specially because what we have noticed in classes is when people falter in listening, it's because of usually 2 things, 2 major things. Yes, there could be 10 things. Yes, there could be 1 thing, but there's usually 2 things. If you fix 2, the major ones, you're good. Now, every student is different here. Your 2 things could be, maybe you're not fast enough in writing down the notes, and the other thing could be, you cannot multitask, you cannot listen and write at the same time. Or maybe your 2 things are, you are listening, you got all the words and phrases and keywords, but you missed on the tone, you missed on the feelings and expressions, and the questions are sometimes based on that. The other problem could be you are listening to the actions, you're able to take notes on that, but you don't listen to the adjectives, which is again the feelings and tones, and you are not writing things down related to that. So you're ignoring some important information. You will be different than everybody else. When you self-evaluate, look at the 2 things, the 2 major mistakes you're making, and try to eliminate them the next time. You want to also practice, obviously, more note-taking while doing mock tests. This is a skill that is built up to an infinite amount of time. There's no limit to it. You always want to keep improving, multitasking, and your speed of note-taking, which is going to come with more and more practice. When you are practicing vocabulary for listening, you want to observe the tone-based points related to emotion or action. Now again, for reading, we already said earlier that you want to learn 10, 15 new words, 5 idioms each day. And yes, that's going to help you with listening too. But during listening, you wouldn't have that much time to go back to what was actually said. In reading, you can go back. So in listening, try to understand based on the tone and context of the story what a word could possibly mean if you don't know that word itself. Usually the tone and the story and expressions will help you understand the possible meaning. Use your educated guesses in those cases. Also, you want to work on predicting answers while listening. I promise you, you will see this pattern if you practice CELPIP listening enough. After a while, you will kind of know that, okay, this person is saying this thing now, maybe this is going to be a part of the question. And sometimes that's because that person really emphasizes that, or it is made in a question, like in a conversation, someone would ask the other person, why was this the most important thing? And then the person answers. And now you know that it is like the most important thing, so probably there's a question based on that. So after doing a few listenings, you will start to see a pattern. And based on that, you can kind of predict what are important things to note down and what are not important things. A special focus here is nouns. Things like dates, names, addresses. If that's being said, you won't remember them. You want to make sure you write those things down. Statistics is another one. Okay, let's talk about writing. Now, this is a little bit tricky because here you have to write 2 email tasks. You don't have anyone to evaluate yourself if you're doing it on your own. If you're not, if you're using our course, it comes with free assessment, and our classes also obviously come with feedback. So what you want to do on day 3 is do the writing, task 1, task 2. Okay, now you have written it. Now you want to use the natural CELPIP templates that could be used in questions and answers, could fit naturally and upgrade your writing. These can be found in our playlist in the description. Check out our CELPIP writing playlist. It's in the description. Lots of good content there. And you will also find CLB 10 plus sample answers again in the playlist below. All right, so you want to use that to make your answers better and upgrade them. But you're not done yet. You can now get HZad Education's free feedback. Just email us your writing once you are done, and we will provide you with feedback for free. 1 free feedback per student, no catch. Just email response and that's it. Once you get that feedback, revise it. Look at all the mistakes, just like reading, and revise what went wrong and make sure in your next writings you do not do that again. Also, when you are writing, you want to focus on 3 sentence structures, okay? You want to focus on 1 complex sentence, 1 passive voice sentence, and 1 sentence with a connector. And you want to do that in every body paragraph. So a complex sentence has 2 clauses. I wanted to really come to the party, however, clause number 2, however, I couldn't because I was sick. You also want to try to use a passive sentence. Active and passive, you should have a good combination. And one sentence with a connector, whether it's furthermore at the start of the paragraph or at the end, consequently, therefore. This forcing yourself to do this is really helpful because most of you don't do it. But again, remember, you got to be natural. If this does not fit your tone or the thing you are trying to explain, don't use all of it, but try definitely to use them as much as possible. Keep also a combination of simple and complex sentences. You don't want every sentence to be complex. Okay, ask yourself at the end of the whole writing, is it organized? And does it answer the question? These are your 2 marks. One is for task response, and one is for coherence. Organization would mean one paragraph has one major idea, not more than one, and you have your intro and conclusion. Answer the question. You want to read the question again and look at your answer. Pretty simple, right? I'll tell you, a lot of people miss this. Usually when you start writing, at the second half of your writing, people start saying something else because you're not focused on the question anymore. You're focused on the timing, grammar, and other things. So people really do miss answering the question. Or you might be talking about one thing from the bullet point, but it is just 20% of the paragraph. Rest of the paragraph is talking about something else. Avoid rambling and make sure you've actually answered the question. Why would you need to ask yourself this question is because you're doing it on your own, without a teacher. If you have a teacher with HZad or any other teacher, we will help you assess if you did these 2 things, among other things, correctly. Let's talk about speaking. Here, again, this is a tough module, so we need to focus on how you could work on this on your own. You want to record your answers for task 1 to 8 using a speaking timer and a voice recorder. Everybody has that on their gadgets. Start recording and then review each recording. Identify unnatural phrases or unclear parts. Now that you can understand and evaluate yourself. If you are the listener and you're hearing yourself, what sounds unnatural? Is it ums? Is it pauses? Or is it unclear? Could you have said it better? Or is it not answering the question? Or are you rambling? Try to understand that. Those are the first things you can understand. But then you also have to look at everything else. The speaking marking criteria is vast. Let me give you an overview. Are you fluent? Did you have fillers like ums, likes, so's? You should not have them, by the way. Did you have good connectors? Furthermore, for example, consequently, therefore, you should have these elements. Did you have a range of sentences? Complex sentences, simple sentences, conditional sentences, like if I do this, comma, then it will happen, this will change, or whatever would happen. Did you answer the question, first of all, based on the content? If the question is asking something, did you answer exactly that? And secondly, did you answer the question based on the tone? Were you being formal in a formal question? Were you being informal in an informal question? And again, did you have a good structure? Did you actually finish everything on time, or were you missing conclusions? Were you convincing in places like part 6 or part 7 where you need to be convincing and show your emotional intelligence? And again, were you natural throughout the speaking in all parts, especially part 1 or parts where you're talking to people? Then with the picture questions, did you cover the entire picture or at least the most important elements of the picture? These are a lot of things that you have to look at, and that's what I mean by everything else. So make sure you review against all these factors, and they can be hard and confusing, and you can easily forget them. But this video is here forever. You can come back, review this again, and see if you're hitting everything that I mentioned. You want to practice using connectors, firstly in contrast overall, among other connectors. Make sure your intonation has a variation, you're natural, and you use complex sentences, again, in conjunction with simple sentences. Use also the 8 task samples in our playlist, which are in the description. So we have a playlist in the description for reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Check it out. All the information you need among every speaking task is there. Work on all of the above and re-record the 3 weakest responses. Among all the responses, the 3 weakest one, I mean, you can do all 8, but just to set a realistic target based on your time commitments, re-record at least 3 of the weakest ones. And once you do, you will see how much better you get once you apply all the above strategies. This is your day 4. Now, if you have 8 days, repeat everything from the first few days again. This 4-day plan is not only for 4 days, it is forever. Whenever you want to repeat it, you can, depending on how much time you have, and this just keeps making your skill better. At the end of the day, I want this kind of email from you as well, where you tell me about your good results after using our guaranteed method. Guys, if you want to check out our CELPIP self-paced course, it is in the description. This is the one that this student used, and it has been used by 70,000 plus students at this time. Check it out. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot an email, and please like, share, and subscribe. I really appreciate it.